Hello and welcome to the Doofcast, a film and TV podcast from Doof Media. I am your host, Scott Daly, and joining me, as always, my good logging buddy, Matt Freeman. Matt, wait, look out!
No, this is so sad.
No, you're fine for now.
Oh.
And then you'll just slowly kind of forget who you are.
This is way sadder than if I had just died.
This week on the show, we are continuing our 9-part series, catching up on all of the Best Picture nominees before the 2026 Academy Awards. We are on part 3 of the series, and we're going to be talking all about the film Train Dreams. But before we get into Train Dreams, Matt, something happened today as we record. It's the 22nd of January, and this morning at 7 a.m. my time, because they still do these announcements at like 5 a.m. Pacific time, for some reason. I don't know why. I think it used to they used to do like a Good Morning America segment on this, and so they needed to read the nominations before that. But who watches Good Morning America anymore?
No, I didn't know that TV existed anymore, to be honest with you.
Well, anyway, they released the Academy Awards for this year, the nominees at least. And so we finally know who our 10 Best Picture nominees are going to be, Matt. We've been operating basically off of probability and luck up until this point. And I have to say, 3 years running, we have not wasted any time by accidentally watching a film that didn't end up getting nominated. So I feel like I'm just going to pat myself on the back for that one there.
We should have been betting on it this whole time.
No, that's for the Golden Globes, where they were showing polymarket odds on the show.
Oh my God. How embarrassing for everyone.
The world has gone insane. Anyway, here are our 10 Best Picture nominees for this year. First, we have Begonia, then F1, then Frankenstein, the movie we covered last week. Next, we have Hamnet, and then Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent. Matt, that's the Brazilian film that I snuck in there at the very end of my list because I was like, Brazil during their military dictatorship seems to be a popular thing in the Oscars.
Yeah.
And I was right.
You're right.
I was right. Next, we have Sentimental Value, and then Sinners, which we have already done an episode on. And then lastly, Train Dreams, which is what we're doing here today. I don't want to talk too much about the nominations here, Matt, because we haven't seen all these movies. The one thing I did just want to say, little surprised to see F1 on the list. Didn't think that was going to happen. But here we are. F1 has made the Best Picture list. And the only other surprise, I guess not surprise, but Sinners was nominated for 16 Academy Awards, which makes it the most nominated film of all time. The record up until this point was 14. I believe Titanic got that. I think it was La La Land that got that as well. There's one other movie that I'm blanking on right now, but 16 for Sinners, which is quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, I don't know how many of those is going to end up winning. Maybe not too many of them, but still. Also, just to note that there is a new award this year for casting, and Sinners was nominated for that award. So that's, I think the good news is even if that award wasn't made, it still would have beaten the all-time nomination list at 15, right? So still a very impressive thing, very surprising.
Huh. So this is an award for the casting director?
Correct.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're
I guess
honoring casting directors.
That's
now.
important. So
it is important. I don't know if Sinners is now like in a race with One Battle After Another for the Best Picture Oscar. This would seem to indicate that this is basically a 2-horse race, but I feel like One Battle After Another is still probably going to win Best Picture. I think the interesting thing is in director, who's going to end up winning there. I think I had kind of had it a lock for PTA, but Ryan Coogler got nominated for Sinners there as well. So I don't know. We will see. The good list of movies here. I've seen 2 of these movies that you have not seen yet. I saw both Begonia and F1 already because I watched those movies over Christmas break, not thinking either would be nominated. And here they are. So we'll be covering those probably within the next couple weeks, but I don't know. How are you feeling? How many of these names did you recognize, I guess, is a good question.
Well, at this point, I guess I recognize more than half of them, which I think is better than last year. I recognize Begonia. I recognize F1. We've already seen Frankenstein. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Hamnet. I've heard tons of good stuff about Marty Supreme. We watched One Battle. I've never heard of The Secret Agent until this conversation with you right now. I've never heard of Sentimental Value. And then we've seen Sinners, and we're talking about Train Dreams tonight. So there's really only 2 out of that list that I had no real awareness of.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. We are in a little bit of a weird situation where Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and The Secret Agent are currently only theatrically available. We try to prioritize the films we can watch at home first, hoping that by the time we get to them, the other movies will be available to stream, since getting to the theater is rather difficult for me right now. But we'll see. I don't know. We've got basically a 3-week runway after this because Begonia, F1, and Sentimental Value are all available to stream right now. So we will see how that goes. I could see myself getting to the theater for Marty Supreme. I could see making that a priority.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. We'll see.
Might be able to make that work. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Enough about that, though, Matt. Let's move into the movie we're here to talk about, which is Train Dreams. Matt, what is this movie all about?
Based on Dennis Johnson's beloved novella, Train Dreams is the moving portrait of Robert Grenier, a logger and railroad worker who leads a life of unexpected depth and beauty in the rapidly changing America of the early 20th century.
This movie was written by Clint Bentley and Greg Quaidar, of course, based on the novella by Dennis Johnson, as your summary just said. It was directed by Clint Bentley, and it stars Joel Edgerton and Felicity Jones. Matt, what did you think about Train Dreams?
Very emotionally powerful movie, very beautiful, visually beautiful movie. It worked on me on a lot of different levels. It's not a real plotty movie.
No.
It leaves me wondering how long this conversation is going to be, not because I don't think it's a good movie, but because there's only so many ways you can say, hey, remember that one really beautiful shot of the trees? But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was very sad. Yeah, I enjoyed it in that way where I don't know if I'll ever feel like watching it again.
Yeah.
What did you think?
This is one of my favorite movies of the year for sure. I really loved this movie. It spoke to me on many levels. I think it is beautiful. It is tragic and sad, but profound. It's like a poem. It's like a poem of a film, I think. And, every once in a while you get one of these where, as you said, it's not really a film driven by plot. It's emotion, it's feeling, it's powerful performances and imagery that move you to your core. And that's how I felt about this movie. I cried like a baby multiple times. One of those was the very end of the movie, which maybe we shouldn't talk about right away in case someone just wants to get an idea of this movie before we spoil it. But I found the ending like snuck up on me in a way I wasn't expecting, where I didn't know that was going to be one of the moments where I just kind of broke down. Mm-hmm. But I did, because like the whole profundity of the entire exercise came rushing into me at once. And I was blown away by this movie. I really was. I think Joel Edgerton, like, he's an actor I've really liked and respected for a long time. This feels like a career best performance for him in a role that is really asking a lot of him in a very quiet kind of way.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
You have to be able to identify with the character and really sink into the character in a movie like this. And it all rides on him, and he absolutely sells it. There's so many moments when he's having, an emotional reaction. It can be a subtle reaction. It can be an extreme reaction. And it absolutely pushes those buttons in your brain because he has so thoroughly, got you to buy into the reality of this character. He's great. Felicity Jones, we just got to watch her in Train Dreams the Brutalist last year.
Yep.
Where she was amazing, and in this she's incredible. I'm like 2 years in a row she just sort of, I think, might have been my favorite actress from any movie from 2 years in a row so far. There's like some moments. Like, I love the moment, like, we're doing full spoilers as usual. So like, toward the end, there's one scene where he's dreaming, and you called it a poem a minute ago, and it's like there's no dialogue in this scene. It's a dream, and he in this dream, it's like he wakes up and he sees her in the house, and he's making eye contact with her, and they're just looking at each other. And then he's also kind of intercut with this. He's seeing what probably happened to his wife and his daughter, how they probably died, and just the pain and vulnerability and humanity on their faces as they're just looking at each other. It's communicating so much.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know. I couldn't. It was one of those moments in watching a film where I was having a profound emotional experience, and the little part of my brain that's preparing for the Doofcast conversation that I'm going to be having later was like, I have no idea how to express how this works, why this has the effect it does. You're just watching two people, and I guess that's all it is. You're watching human communication, and it's operating on a level that's nonverbal, that's non-rational. It's just connection. It's just pure connection, and it's conveyed in this beautiful way. And I loved it.
I so agree, and I don't know how you write this. Like, this is one of the things that, like, we talk about movies a lot, and we analyze them, inspect them. We talk about stories. We talk about the cause and effect and the setup and payoff and all these very technical terms for what is an art form. And I understand a lot of stuff like that. And then I get something like this movie, which just pummels you with emotion to the point where, like, I can't even like draw a clear line between why I feel this at this time, or why that character standing there doing that makes me feel this way. And also, like, how any human being would ever have like the foresight to go, okay, at this point in this movie, we're going to cut to this scene and do this moment, and it's going to destroy everything in you because it's perfectly placed at the perfect time. It's just like I don't know how people do this. I don't know how people create things like this, because poetry is the perfect example of this, because you and I have spent years and years and years and years talking about novels. And I think I have a very good grasp on how to read a novel and how a novel works and why a moment in a story affects me this way or that way, and I'm good at that. I'm not tooting my own horn. I think I'm good at that. And then I come across a poem, and I read the poem, and I am moved to my soul, and I sit in front of a microphone and try to explain why that is, and I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
And that's in many ways what I feel about this movie. There's lots of very pretty images and lots of amazing acting, and there is a story, but why did this fuck me up? I mean, one of the reasons is because it has a child that dies in it, right? That's an easy way to fuck up a parent. But like, how it all worked on me in the way it did is an absolute fucking mystery to me.
No, I think this is a fun thing to talk about this movie, because there are some elements of it where it's sort of almost self-evident why it is emotionally affecting. It's like the beginning of the movie Up, where it's like,
sure,
look, we just know all the buttons, and we're just going to push the buttons. We're going to play sad music while we have a man cry because his family is dead. This is not mysterious. I understand how this works. This is basic. I feel bad because this guy feels bad.
Sure.
But then there's like layers of this. There's complexities. There are feelings that the movie is making you feel, and you don't even quite know how, or how the seed was planted in your mind. This through line of this guilt and torment he feels over the Chinese railroad worker who was murdered, and he essentially feels like everything that happens to him after that is a punishment for him letting that happen.
Yeah.
Even though, in that moment he was just so taken off guard, it's like, what would you even have done, right? But I'm sure he tells himself, I should have stopped it, right? And and we follow that through line, and I felt such, I don't know, like empathy and like I've never been in a situation like that. That's not a common dramatic situation, right? It's just, but like I found it to be very powerfully articulated, and these small moments like with him and the friend who comes and visits him a few times after his family dies and goes hunting with him. There's just like some moments in there where it's like I don't have the other than just kind of pointing at it and being like that's really good and it works emotionally. Like I don't it's like what do you analyze there?
Yeah, well, I mean, like to try to analyze some stuff, this is a movie about the ways in which the world moves on from us as we get older, right? Like this is a movie about this man's life. We meet him in his childhood, this terrible, tragic childhood of where he's just sent into out west on a train, doesn't remember his parents, doesn't even know his birthday, has no idea how old he is, and just kind of has to make a life for himself. And it all comes connected to the people he meets and the things, the effects those people have on him in his life. But it's also a man watching as the world transforms around him and then kind of slowly realizing that this isn't my world anymore. And I mean, the backdrop of the 20th century is so perfect because of just the speed at which things change in the 20th century and beyond. But like, this is really about anyone. This is about life. This is about what happens as we get older in our lives and we struggle to find meaning even amongst our grief. Like I know, like, I don't know if you've ever thought of this. Like there have been moments in my life where I've wondered, like, what would I do if what happens to this character happened to me, right? Like if my wife and my kids were killed and I was basically left alone. And I look at that and I think about that and it's like, I don't know how to live that life. And this is a movie where that happens to the character and he's kind of forced to find a way to pick up his life again because of course he is. And it's difficult and it's tragic and it's lonely, but it's also beautiful. And it's life. It's just every bit of life and all the people he comes in contact with. And like, I do love the moments with the one friend whose name I'm blanking on, like sees him suffering and just comes to him and helps him and is with him to work him through this part of the grief. And then he meets the forest ranger woman and just like the ways in which the people in his life kind of carry him through it. And yet you still feel his like immense loneliness at the center. Like it's so sad. Yeah. It's so sad, but it's so beautiful at the same time. I don't know how to talk about this. I really don't.
Yeah. I think his friend's name is Ignatius, actually.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I want to zoom in on one of the aspects of what you said there, where his, the life that he thinks he has is taken from him essentially. And it's like, now you have to live a different life. And really, it's not like he, carpes the diem. He spends the whole rest of his life emotionally reeling from that event. And, and it, it's not like he chooses to live a new, different, better life. He just chooses to survive essentially. And he's like, I guess I could get some horses and, like that's something to do and I can make some money and afford food. And, I like that, we see him with the dogs bring him a little bit of
the dogs
of happiness and comfort at least, right? He has dogs, he has his friends, but this sadness is always there. And this feeling of being lost, this feeling of being derailed. I didn't know how on the nose to be with this, but I was thinking about it as like his life has been derailed and it's a movie about, trains in a sense.
No, I love that. The idea of train dream, like the idea of a train as a symbol for like forward progress, right? Mm-hmm. I think trains are just the perfect symbol of that. And so train dreams would be this very kind of straight line progressive dream that this is what my life is going to be. I mean, I think the movie even kind of says this, like when he finds the Felicity Jones character, it's like, oh, this is what life is for. I like up until this point, I was just kind of wandering around doing whatever. And then I found this woman and fell in love with her. And it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I get what life is now. I get it. And I can look forward and I see my life in the straight line from this moment to its end. And I'm good. And then of course life says, haha.
Yeah.
No. And yeah, what do you do when that dream has been taken away from you?
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. You know, it's funny. It sounds dramatic, but I think we can all relate to aspects of this where it's like you have an image of what you think your life is going to be like. And it can be a relationship. It can be a job. It can be a place or a person or a thing that you think, this is it. I've found it. And this makes me happy. And this is going to be this way forever. And this is part of my identity. And then you lose that thing, you know, that's not that uncommon, right? In the general sense. And so we can all relate to, what the hell am I going to do now? I don't have the thing that I need. I need that. That's part of me. And now it's gone. And that can, that's some of the most painful stuff that we have to deal with as people is how do I reassemble some kind of functional way of being in the world when I don't have the thing, the crucial thing, person, place, whatever. I found that it was touching me on that level. Maybe that's why it's hard to articulate, is there's less, I don't know. I think, yeah. So like most art that we make tends to be melodramatic, for lack of a better word, where, you focus on the event. Oh no, his family was killed. That's the event. Mm-hmm. But it's like, well, no, that's a horrible thing that happened. And we do experience this event with him, but then we experience the entire rest of his life and the life leading up to it, which in a sense is the context. And I think I guess that's one thing I like about that. That's one reason why the movie is unique, is it is telling the entire life story of this man, right? It's epic in that sense, where it's really talking about life at a very high relatable level.
Yeah. And that's why to get to the ending bit that moved me to my very core, it just kind of sneaks up on you, because I don't even think, unless you're like paying attention to the runtime, I didn't even think I realized the movie was about to end. I mean, he's obviously, Joel Edgerton is like aging as he goes, and he looks old once he gets to the field with the plane in it. But like, I just didn't realize, like, oh, this is it. This is the climax of the film, where he hops on an airplane and I guess the idea is metaphorically like sees existence from a new perspective, right?
Yeah.
He hops on this plane and is flying around this place he's lived his entire life, and sees everything from above, sees everything from a new perspective, understands maybe a little bit of what it was all for in essentially the final moments before his death. And that moment where the pilot says, hold on to something, and he goes, what? And then suddenly we're flashing through memories of every single human being he's interacted with his entire life. And the idea of what is he holding on to at the end of it all? He's holding on to the people, and those memories with those people that impacted him and changed him, all of them, every single one.
Yeah.
And oh man, it just got me. It just got me right in the feels of, like, if I'm looking back on my life from a bird's eye view, what the memories I want to have is of the people that have impacted me. Those the flashes of my life I want is those small, tiny moments, some of which felt meaningful and important and profound, like his conversations with the William H. Macy character, and some of which are just, little moments. I love as tragic and horrible as the death of his wife and child were, I love that the memories he has, especially of his little girl, are not like, they're not like the things you would think you would remember. Mm-hmm. If you're like looking back on it. It's the small stuff. It's like that one moment we were joking about before we started recording, where they're filling water at the side of the river, and the little girl just throws the little pail in the water.
Yeah.
This little adorable toddler moment of, well, what'd you do that for? Oh.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the way, those are the things that you want to remember, those little small insignificant moments that only matter because now suddenly they're gone. It's just, it moved me.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that was beautiful about it, is the ability to capture many different moments like that, where, it's a small moment between husband and wife, or father and daughter, or between friends, where there's no literary, like, it's not announcing itself as a moment of drama. It's just, this is humanity. This is the little moments that we feel good about, that we remember, that make us feel connected to other people.
Yeah.
And it was really, just as a movie, really good at depicting those moments in a way that was just the right level of sentimentality, where it's not overdoing it, it's not maudlin, but it's also it's allowing the moment to exist and to be, and allowing you to connect to it.
Yeah. Can I don't usually do this on the podcast, but I'm going to do it. Can I read you something that our guy Mike Flanagan wrote about this movie?
Sure.
That I thought was beautiful?
That sounds fun.
This is from his Letterboxd review of Train Dreams. He says, "At some point, we each must realize that the world has crashed over us and moved ahead, and we are left wondering why we're still here and what the hell any of it means. This is the story of a life that aches quietly and in solitude and then is gone, but not before a contemplative moment that reaches skyward for some kind of meaning. That ultimate meaning is elusive, or perhaps we won't understand it until we disconnect from the earth and look down at it from far removed. Maybe only then, we will feel connected to it all. Maybe the answer to the riddle is only clear to us in our final moments. Until then, we love, we learn, we yearn, and we mourn." This guy, pretty good at writing.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Put one word in front of the other. Yeah. I like that. I'm just to bounce off that, the idea that the sort of the text of the movie, the narration, which I don't know if we mentioned that it actually has narration, which is somewhat unusual.
Yeah.
The narration indicates like he just sort of lived the rest of his days waiting to understand his own life, feeling like any day the epiphany would come over him, and it would all make sense. The tragedies would feel justified somehow, but it never seemed to happen. And I'm just like, wow, I can so relate to that feeling of like any day now, the significance of all of this will make sense to me. But until that happens, until that moment arrives, I'm just going to have to keep waking up and putting my pants on.
And maybe the true irony of life is that will never happen.
Yeah.
Or maybe you will only finally figure it out right as it is coming to an end. Yeah. I mean, I like it because like he's not significant, right? It's a quiet life. It's a small life. He lived in this log cabin that he made and then was burned down. Then he rebuilt in the exact same spot. And he lived there his entire life. He never really traveled that far outside of for work. It's not the life of anyone really significant, but it's a human. It's a human being, and it's the life he lived.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, great story. William H. Macy, I have to just talk about how great he was for a second.
Yeah.
Weirdly, like, didn't recognize him at first, even though it's obviously him. Really? Well, just because
so distinct. Yeah, I get it.
I think he's doing an unusual voice, and he's doing and he's got unusual facial hair. So
yeah,
and he's just starting to get kind of old.
He is getting old. He's 76.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Really small part, but a really, really impactful one. Love when he just steps into a movie like that and kind of owns the scenes he's in and then leaves.
Yeah, you very quickly fall in love with him, and it's very sad when he dies. And it's almost his life is an interesting commentary sort of on our main character, where This is a guy who never had any family, as far as we know, who drifted through life, who it was actually, you know, remarkable to him. Like, oh, I ran into the same guy twice. That's wonderful. This guy is my best friend now. And it's like, wow, that's kind of beautiful, but it's also like the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And yet he's like this kind of, you know, kind of delightful, kind of gregarious guy. But I feel like even in the performance, the gregariousness is covering for the loneliness.
Sure.
And so he is very much struggling with a lot of the same things that our protagonist is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Life can be incredibly lonely sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I know I've talked about this on the show before, and I will never stop talking about it because I never stop thinking about it. But just, I remember my dad saying to me as a kid once, it's like, you know, there's going to be a lot of times in your life where you're just alone and you're going to have to figure out how to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to preface that this is coming from my father, who was a commercial airline pilot and spent the majority of his life in a hotel in another country on a layover. And so, like, I think my dad was just maybe alone more often than the average person, maybe closer to our character in this, where he was just away from home a lot and alone a lot. And so that was my dad's perspective, and I guess is my dad's perspective on a lot of things. But that really impacted me that he said that. And I think about that all the time, especially when I'm feeling particularly lonely at one given moment or anything. And it's just, I do think there's parts of life that can be incredibly lonely, even if you have a family that doesn't get horribly killed in a fire. Like there's just moments in your life that you're going to be lonely. And I mean, like, not to get too heavy, but like death is a lonely experience.
Yeah.
Right? You are dying. No one else is. I mean, unless you're in some sort of but even that, like, you are experiencing the death. No one. That's not a thing you can really share.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just I was thinking a lot about the William H. Macy character, this inherently lonely person, who still saw the beauty in the world, right? Like, just like that moment where they're sitting down the trees and he's like, "Isn't it beautiful?" What? Everything. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I really like living, man.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. Movies like this reminded me, as sad as it was and lonely and mournful. I really love being alive.
Yeah, I think it's movies like this, they resonate with the fears and sorrows we all share, but then also they remind us of the joy of life, and I mean, in a sense, make us glad that we're not in this guy's position, because it's a really tragic life. But even in his tragic life, he finds some comfort. I just to return to the dogs, like that. I like that the movie does that, because it's like, look, when a tragedy happens to a person, it's actually not just monotonous misery for the next 50 years until they die. Like you will have moments of joy. You'll have moments where you maybe even forget the thing that you're sad about. Maybe even whole days where you don't consciously think about that thing, even if it's subconsciously influencing you, or you know, the life that you live in is dictated by that event in some practical sense. But you're going to have more life beyond that. There's more to life beyond that one thing that happened, and I like that the movie contained that in it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love what he says to the Claire, the ranger character, of like, some days I feel like the grief will swallow me whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then some days it feels like it happened to someone else. And like that is the fascinatingly tricky part about this kind of sadness and grief, is that it is not all consuming all the time. And you never know when you'll switch from one moment, one feeling to the other, you know?
Yeah.
No, I loved him with the dogs. I mean, so we haven't talked about the moment where Kate, his daughter, Katie, returns, right? I think one of the tragedies of this is not only that he lost his wife and his daughter, but that he had no real confident confirmation that they were both dead. And so he spends his life, we talked about he spends his life waiting for meaning, but he spends a lot of his life waiting for the chance that they might come back.
Yeah.
And then we get this scene where he finds this person, and this young woman, this like looks like she's living in the wilderness, and he believes that this is his daughter returned to him. He dresses her wounds, he takes care of her, and then he wakes up the next morning and she's gone, and the window is left open, and he spends the rest of his life there just in case she comes back, and also like ranging around the entire area looking for her and never finds her. I love this because there's no real indication that like what happened here, right? Like this could have been just someone that wasn't his daughter.
Yeah.
Or it could have never happened at all, and this is all in his imagination.
Yeah, or it could have been a dream.
Yeah, exactly. And probably was a dream. Like that's my interpretation of this, that this is just something he wanted so badly to happen that he kind of willed it into existence in his subconscious.
Yeah, I think it's meant to sort of land as being inconclusive intentionally, because
sure,
like one thing you notice is like, okay, she has a horribly broken leg that he fixes, and then she's just gone the next day. It's like, where's she going on that broken, shattered leg? Which leads you to think maybe it was just a dream. But it's like, well, that seems like a very grounded sort of dream to have. Like,
yeah. I mean, what I'll say is all the moments in which he's like hearing voices and remembering them all have like a very dreamlike feel to them. Mm-hmm. Even that one scene you were talking about where he wakes up and sees her in the kitchen, like cleaning up, and they have that wordless moment as he imagines them being chased and succumb to the fire. Like that has a very dreamlike quality to it. And it's also very clear, like he falls asleep in his bed and he wakes up in the bed that they shared together.
Yeah.
But this scene is very grounded in reality. Every part of it feels real, to the point where like I remember watching it and being like, really? I did not expect the movie to do this, that Kate's just going to be back. That's a twist, but I don't know. I think it is, if because they chose not to shoot it as like a dream sequence type thing, it does leave it rather ambiguous.
Yeah. That's the thing. I don't come down really one way or the other. I think we're meant to leave with that feeling of suspended uncertainty and hope, much like our character is. Like I think if there's an effect that they're going for with this element, that's what it is. It's leaving us with the same sense of like, well, like what was that? What is the meaning of this? What really are they? Is she alive? And just toy with us in the same way that he is being toyed with by, certainly it must cross his mind every once in a while that he could leave this place and go do something else, go have a different life. Yeah. But he always returns to this cabin in exactly the same place, because even when he's 80, he's like, maybe they just got lost. Maybe my daughter will come back. Mm-hmm. And you can totally understand that. I don't know. It's kind of horrible, right? The concept. So to be honest, I heard the concept of this movie before I saw it, so I kind of knew certain things that were coming, which I don't think ruined the movie for me or anything like that. But I did know that this family was going to die. So even just hearing the concept of like his family dies, but he doesn't actually know if they're dead or not, so he just stays in the same place for the rest of his life. That's a horror story. You spend the rest of your life not sure, never knowing for sure. That's God. Anyway,
it's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I tell you about the part that I laughed at that probably wasn't supposed to be funny?
Yeah, go for it.
When the guy shows up at the logging camp and says he's looking for a man, and then the guy, what is his name? Preacher something, because he's always quoting the Bible. He he immediately stands up and starts running, and the guy shoots him. I thought that was pretty funny. I laughed.
I think that's supposed to be a funny scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be funny, and then like it's one of those things where like I think one of his experiences with the logging men is like how fragile and kind of up in the air life is sometimes, that like you have all these people around here that have all these different experience and come together briefly, and then someone could just walk up and shoot a guy because he's getting revenge. A tree can fall on one guy, and we mourn them, but hey, the company really needs us to get working, so let's move it on. And just the fragility of it all.
Yeah, I like that. That reminds me of, I think, one of the most like poetic moments when the guy is giving the eulogy at William H. Macy's character's funeral, and he goes, Arn would always say that a tree could be a good friend unless you cut into it, and when you cut into it, it would be an enemy and it would try to kill you. But Arn never cut into that tree. It just dropped the branch on him, and I don't know what meaning to take from that. and then he, and that's the end. He's like, and he's left with this, just like, that's not satisfying. There's no, like, where's the poetic symmetry to this? It doesn't make sense. He never, he was a good man. He didn't deserve this. And then you're just left with that. Like, yeah. It's not that life isn't fair.
It's not even that it's not fair. It's just, it's not a story.
Yeah.
Like it's just things happen.
Yeah.
And that's life. And sometimes it's incredibly fortuitous and you meet the woman you love, and then sometimes she dies. And sometimes you watch as it all changes around you, and suddenly you're not the young logger anymore. You're the old man who can't figure out how to work the chainsaw. And it's just like, there's no greater purpose behind it outside of what you ascribe to it. And that's one of the most frustrating and also beautiful things about life. And this is all this stuff that this movie made me think about.
Yeah.
Which is just like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're not saying our fixation on analyzing and understanding stories is some kind of security blanket to keep us from confronting the chaos and lack of any sensibility in life, are you?
No, don't be ridiculous. Let me be clear. My life is a story.
Yeah. Well, mine too, and I'm the protagonist.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah. Good.
This guy's life,
unfortunately,
not a story.
Not a story. He didn't win the My Life's a Story award when he was born.
That's right.
He did.
Yeah.
Which is, whew, I'm glad for that.
Yeah. Me too.
Anything else you wanted to say about Train Dreams? Like, I think, like you said, maybe a shorter conversation than we would normally have, but I'm absolutely in love with this movie. I think it's beautiful, and I'm glad it's being considered. Here's something I will say, and then you can do your last piece. I cannot imagine a worse movie to watch on Netflix.
Okay. Why specifically, other than it should have been watched in a theater?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, we're about to talk at the end of this episode. We're going to talk about The Rip, the new Matt Damon, Ben Affleck movie that came out on Netflix, and how Netflix is very cognizant and aware that
I see.
The people that watch their stuff aren't paying attention because they're on their phones, and it just like it is kind of the mystery of Netflix to me, where they will create and purchase and support absolute trash, and then we'll randomly go to Sundance, because this was a movie that premiered at Sundance last year. Randomly go to Sundance, see a movie like this, spend millions of dollars to acquire it, and drop it on their streaming service. And it's just the profound mystery that is Netflix. It's just wild. Like, I want to hate it, right? I want to hate Netflix. And then I get to see movies like this because of it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
What do I do? What do I do with these feelings?
That's funny. No, that is funny because I feel like over the years we've, I don't want to say frequently, but occasionally been like, man, I want to ditch Netflix. I'm just so sick of Netflix. And then they'll always pull shit like this where they pull us back in.
They do. I mean, the last 2 weeks, Frankenstein and Train Dreams, both Netflix films.
Yep.
Pretty soon they're going to own Warner Brothers, and then they'll have like half the films on this list we're talking about.
Yeah, and maybe they'll stream some of them if they feel like.
Oh, they'll stream all of them. Don't you worry.
All right.
They did commit. If the sale goes through, they said they are keeping the 45-day theatrical window.
Okay.
That's what Ted Sarando said, Matt. He promised.
Yeah.
He promised.
For 6 months. Yeah.
He also didn't say how long they're going to do that for. But yeah, they're doing it.
Yeah.
He promised.
Okay.
Everything's going to be fine. We got nothing to worry about.
Because when a corporate representative promises something, that's
always do it.
That's binding. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like when Sony bought Alamo Drafthouse and said nothing was going to change because they supported the Alamo Drafthouse business model, and now they're forcing everyone to order on their phones during the movie.
Yeah. When you say the corporation promised, you can always trust that promise.
Yep. The Doof Corporation promises that we will never take money from corporations.
That's right. That's
Until
right. We the corporation do promise that.
Right up until the moment that they offer it to us.
Of course.
Yeah. Matt is going to get us $7 million though.
Yeah. I don't even remember the context of that bit that was clipped for our cold open on Flanagan's Wake. I was like, I remember saying that, but I know there was something that led into that made it make more sense. But
there was. I don't remember what it was either.
Okay, excellent.
Don't worry though, because we're gonna get a $7 million infusion of capital. I wouldn't even know what to spend it on. Is the thing.
No.
I mean, what I would spend it on is, I'm quitting my job. That's what I would spend it on.
Right.
Which I don't think they'd appreciate that.
No.
But anyway, that is Train Dreams, and that's 4 of the 6 Best Picture nominees covered.
All right. Yeah.
So, Matt, I wanted to give you the option. We're going to talk about The Rip in a second, but I wanted to give you the option of picking our next movie. I don't usually do this. Usually I decide and make you watch stuff, but we've got 2 films that are currently available just for a subscription, Begonia, which is currently on Peacock, and F1, which is on Apple. And I wanted to let you pick which of these 2 are we going to cover next. Obviously, we're going to do both of them, but which are we doing next week?
Well, the one I'm most excited about is Begonia. I know the barest sketch of what the plot is, or the premise, and I know that it has our other favorite actress of recent years. we're really in an embarrassment of riches here.
That's Emma Stone.
Emma Stone, yes, and I'm just pretty interested in watching this movie. So
yeah, she's teaming up with Yorgos Lanthimos once again. I feel like she's just said, as long as he will have me, I will do every single movie he wants me to. Because she just continues to be in his movies, and I've seen this movie already. I'm not going to say anything, but I think you will get a kick out of it.
Great.
Yeah. So that sounds like Begonia is next week. If you have a subscription to Peacock, it is available there. If you don't, you can rent it other places. But sounds good.
Yeah.
Do.
All right, Matt. Let's talk about The Rip. It's 2026.
Is it? It's not 1994.
We're ripping. So, Matt, what is The Rip? Please explain this movie for people that maybe have not heard of it.
It's the latest Netflix product, parasitizing off of the brand, the personal brand of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. It's a pretty bad movie. And I was mad. I was mad at it because the premise is it's like a fun action movie premise. It's like, It's kind of like, The Raid or Dread or something, where it's like you've got some cops, and the cops are the premise is that these cops they get alerted that there is a large amount of money. And the way that apparently the movie teaches us laboriously and at great length, involving a lot of boring dialogue, that what you do when there's a lot of money is you got to go there, and then you've got to like be really, really meticulous in how you, secure it and count it at the site generally to make sure that none of it disappears. And then you make sure it's conveyed to where it's safe. And there's a whole, everything's got to be above board, and these people are already in trouble. And it's like, wow, what a great premise. No, it sucks. It's boring. It sucks. The action sucks, actually. The action it's like if someone very carefully watched the movie Heat and took detailed notes and then like reversed all of the notes. So like you should have a clear understanding of where people are relative to each other and give your shots space. No. Everything should be dark and quick cutting, and the shots should just come. The camera angles should just be random, and the lighting should be super weird and like unrealistic. Not even in like a stylistic way, just in a way that looks kind of fake, like they're on a movie set. And the guns should just not behave correctly in any way. I'll just broadly, like, just everything is wrong with the way they treat the guns. This culminates in Ben Affleck shooting a machine gun at the door of an armored car that he's driving along next to. And then, despite the fact that the bullets aren't doing anything to the car, he just keeps reloading the machine gun and shooting and emptying the magazine at the armored car again. And he does this either 3 or 4 times. That's a perfect symptom.
I think this is a perfect example of why the action is bad, because I thought he was intentionally trying to shoot the tire that entire time, because that would make sense to do.
If he was, then
it took him several clips, and then finally the tire gets blown. So I don't even know. Maybe that was an accident. Maybe he was really trying to break that armor, and then one of the bullets ricocheted into the tire.
Entirely possible he was trying to shoot the tire, but I feel like the film language of action would have shown that more clearly.
Sure.
Like logically, what you're saying makes sense to me, but it's like you didn't. It shouldn't have taken 4 magazines anyway. Yeah. It's terrible. And then on top of that, I know I'm talking too much, and I'm sorry, but
no, you're good.
Like then there's the thing. So Matt and Ben went on Joe Rogan and pre-made excuses for the shitty movie, where they preemptively talked about how Netflix forces you to have your characters explain everything multiple times. And they had to do that because that's what happens in the movie, is they explain everything boringly multiple times. And like the actor, like you can see in the actors' faces that they're just like, I know this dialogue is complete shit. And this is so embarrassing.
To be fair to Netflix here, they didn't say Netflix forces you.
Uh-huh.
They say Netflix comes to you during the creation process and is like, hey, so we have this data that shows if you put an action sequence in the first 5 minutes, that people really like that. And also, we have this data that shows if you explain the plot 3 or 4 times, it allows people to follow the movie better because they're looking at their phone while they're watching it. Nowhere did they say they forced them to do those things, but also, like, if you want to make another movie with us after this one, maybe you should do those things because we're Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, I did think it was funny that they mentioned those 2 things as if they are commensurate and similar, because almost every action movie has an action scene in the first few minutes.
Yeah, but the way Ben described it is that, like, usually an action movie, like in the old way of making action movies, would have 3 action set pieces as like the big action moments of your film. And if you're like budgeting, the one you would spend the most amount of money on is the final one, because it's the climactic action sequence. And he was basically saying that Netflix is pressuring them or asking them or telling them, whatever you want to interpret it as, that you need to put a lot of that money in that first one. that you really need to make sure that first one is like your fucking big one, because that is the one that all the people are going to watch. And then after that, they'll be looking at their phones. So the third one maybe doesn't matter as much.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's what they did. I think that the first action scene in this movie is really just a brief moment of violence. But they definitely took the advice on boringly explaining everything multiple times.
Okay. This is a movie. This was written by and directed by Joe Carnahan, which is maybe not a name you recognize, but you will when I read you some movies right here. He wrote and directed Smokin' Aces. He wrote and directed The Grey. That's the Liam Neeson fights wolves movie. The remake of The A-Team was his as well. So that this is kind of the movie he makes, but also your joke at the beginning of this segment was like, are you sure this isn't a movie from 1994? And that is the thing that's about to, this feels like a movie that existed in the 90s in a lot of ways. It is one of those movies that, like, the movie really wants you to be in this place where you don't know what's going on or who to trust, right? You have all these characters, and they got all like A-list characters for this. We've talked about Ben and Matt, of course, but Stephen Yeun is another one of the detectives. Tiana Taylor, who is just getting Oscar love for her character in One Battle After Another, is in this movie in like a nothing part. Like she does absolutely nothing in this movie. And then Catalina Sandino Moreno, who we recognize from the television show From, but she's an Academy Award nominated actress as well. And like the point here is that we're supposed to be like, oh, I don't know who to trust, and which one of the is Matt bad? Is Ben bad? Is someone else bad? Who can we possibly trust? And like they used to make these movies, right? Where like you didn't know who to trust, and the movie actually is like requires you to pay attention to like follow the twists and turns of the film as it goes. But that's not this movie.
Yeah.
This movie makes it very clear, very quickly, who is bad and who is good. Yeah, and yet it still holds out as if you're supposed to be doubting those things. But I guess it does so in just one of the most like predictable ways of all time.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, it's trying to be like a cross between like The Usual Suspects and Bad Boys, where it's like we're gonna have over the top 90s action, which
it's even the tactical narcotics team, the TNT team, which we saw in Bad Boys.
Yeah.
That's what the team in Bad Boys that they work for is named.
Now that
this also takes place in Miami, which are Matt Damon and Ben Affleck allowed to make movies that take place in Miami?
No, they're not.
It feels like this should definitely be in Boston.
It felt very wrong that it was Miami. I kept being surprised repeatedly during the movie. It's like no.
No, you're in Boston.
You're in Boston.
Just admit you're in Boston.
Or LA at a stretch, okay? You're not in Miami. Now that we've said this, I now realize that like the pitch for this movie was definitely like Bad Boys meets I just said The Usual Suspects, but I actually had a better one in my mind, a better like a Tarantino movie like Reservoir Dogs or something, where or The Hateful Eight, where it's a conceptually it's a locked room mystery. I mean, it is. It's conceptually a locked room murder mystery. That's because the murder mystery is who killed the captain, and then the instigate. I don't know what the word is because that's also the inciting incident, but there's like a secondary inciting incident, which is the rip is like, well, we're gonna figure it out here. We gotta figure this out now. It's clever, right? Like on paper, it's a fun concept. That's why I'm actually mad, and that's why I'm like ranting instead of just being like, this was a poorly done action movie. It's like, wow, what a fun concept. I'm so annoyed that you screwed it up so badly.
I really wanted it to be a true like siege movie.
Yeah.
I really wanted it to be these cops are all stuck in this house together. They're under siege by both the cartel and maybe some corrupt cops, and they also don't trust each other. And that in and of itself is like a really fun idea. Like I know this because we've done this concept before.
Right.
We've made movies like this before. And that's what I really thought it was shaping up to be when like, get out of the house in 10 minutes or you're all dead. And that one moment when they open fire on the house, we don't know who it is, but they open fire on the house. I'm like, oh, we're in a siege movie now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it never really gets there to where they're actually really under siege.
Yeah.
Right. It keeps like threatening that the siege is about to break at any moment. But then they just leave the house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
I guess this isn't a siege movie.
And they have a pleasant conversation with the cartel members who are like,
that was the weirdest part to me.
That was
when the cartel's just like, we've decided that this money, we're not gonna.
Yeah.
There's the moment. I'm sorry, we're kind of spoiling this movie, but don't watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moment when it's like, no, it's okay. He's cartel. What?
Yeah. Yeah, they must have gotten some tax breaks from the cartels to film this movie. That was baffling to me. Yeah, we are spoiling the movie. Like the part that just completely lost me. And I admit this is sort of me being nitpicky about like action details, but you talked about the time when they're first attacked, and the logic of the action scene is completely absent, because you, the viewer, and the characters should be in the position of being like, we have no idea who's attacking us or where they're attacking us from. All we know is that there are bullets coming in through the walls and windows.
Mm-hmm.
Then what they do is two of them run outside.
The dumbest possible thing you could do.
The dumbest possible thing you could do. Like, you would assume you're running directly into machine gun fire, but they just run outside. And then it suddenly is a chase where they are now chasing the people who were attacking them, who presumably were posted up somewhere where they had a great line of sight and would have no reason to now be running away.
Uh-huh.
And yet this works perfectly. And now, and also, by the way, they had no idea how many people were attacking them. So it's like you could be grossly outnumbered. You don't know where they are. But no, you're successfully now chasing them through the streets, and they're jumping on rooftops, and you just won somehow by running out into the. I was just like, this, even by the logic of like a 90s Will Smith action movie where you're supposed to accept that it's kind of hyper stylized and unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stupid. Like it's illogical is what it is. It doesn't follow, And
yeah, I mean, there were moments that I thought this movie had its charms, and I enjoyed. And like here, the honest truth is, I just really, really like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and I like when they get to be in movies together,
mm-hmm.
and like that goes a long way in this movie. But it doesn't go far enough. And like, look, I appreciate they have this company that they made called Artist Equity. And like the point of this company is they are trying to bring the middle back to filmmaking, right? These are two actually very intelligent men. And it's really wonderful hearing them talk about the business, because they understand the business in a way that very few other people do. And like, there's that viral clip where I think it was Matt Damon talking about how DVD sales and the loss of that basically destroyed the industry.
Uh-huh.
Love that clip. But like, and that's why, I think one of the reasons we both ended up watching this was because they went on Joe Rogan, and then the stuff that they said on that podcast got aggregated and pushed out to the trades. And so I'm seeing like all these articles talking about, this is what Ben Affleck and Matt Damon said on this podcast. I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch this movie now because I'm curious. So I really appreciate what they're trying to do, and I like them as actors. I like them as directors. I like them as people, although I obviously don't know them. But yeah, this is just not a very good movie.
No, you're right. I mean, to strain myself in an effort to be fair, there were moments in the movie when I sort of felt myself getting won over and kind of pulled in. And those are generally dramatic scenes, very often dramatic scenes between those two actors specifically. And they're not badly written specific scenes, and they're well performed. They give it their all most of the time.
Yeah.
And some of the twists and turns, I admit, I didn't see coming. Partly, I feel like that's because I was mad at the movie by that point and thought it was stupid. And then when the twist comes, I was like, oh, okay, it was somewhat more clever than I thought it was, but still executed badly. So I'm not forgiving it. So it's not like it was totally without its charms. It just really, really let me down in a lot of ways that made it kind of unrecoverable.
My favorite scene in the movie is near the beginning when Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are sitting, I think they're in a bathroom, looking in the mirror, and they're having a conversation. And Matt Damon turns to him and says, I don't even like being a cop anymore. Uh-huh. And I realized that this was a movie about how they just hate the film industry. And it just makes them very sad.
Yeah, he says, and then looks at the camera.
Yeah. So like, okay, Sophie's Choice, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Who are you murdering to save the other?
You know, there are so many more favorite movies of mine that Matt Damon is in that I think it's pretty easy to go for him, but by no means am I a Ben Affleck hater. You just have to remind me of the existence of Gone Girl, and I'm back on board with Ben. But I don't know. What's your Sophie's Choice?
Yeah, I mean, I probably would go Matt Damon too. I mean, it's just so the ways in which their careers diverged and then converged, you know, are just like so fascinating to me. I got Dogma. Like they released a 4K Dogma last year for the 20th anniversary or whatever, and I got it and I watched it, and not my favorite movie, but the two of them together in that movie are so good.
Yeah.
And so I really do like them together, but I would probably say Matt Damon still as well. I mean, like Matt Damon is going to be in the Odyssey. He's Odysseus coming up this year, Matt. So we can't kill him.
Yeah. No, he's he's in The Martian. Like he's been a lot of great characters and a lot of great things. I mean, Jason Bourne to me is a more fun character, or just like a better character than, you know, Ben Affleck's Batman, right? It's not really fair. He's just had a lot better roles.
Part of that is like individual choices.
Mm-hmm.
And then part of that is like the weird way in which Hollywood like viewed them differently, right? Mm-hmm. Where Matt Damon was like the guy everyone loved, and Ben Affleck kind of became the pariah for a while.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And part of that was he struggled with alcoholism and addiction and stuff like that. And part of that was some of his very public, very paparazzi friendly romantic relationships. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I remember, you know, them being both in The Last Duel again, a few years ago.
Oh, I loved them in it. I love that they get to do these things where they'll just like suddenly appear together and stuff again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic movie. They were both great in it. You know, they're great. This is actually not us being haters of them. If anything, it adds to the disappointment, because I'm like, come on, guys. This could have been awesome. There's also a weird irrational disappointment where I'm like, I kind of thought I was going to get treated to a 90s action movie that was made in 2025. And that's just not what it is. I think we've lost the technology to make a 90s action movie.
That's what I was going to say, is it's a movie that clearly proves that you can't just make a 90s action movie in 2026, especially when it's for Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so this episode has been the dichotomy of Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is The Rip. Go watch it.
Yes. Right. I mean, it's on Netflix, so just you know what? Put it on and cook a 4-course meal while it's on in the background.
Don't worry about not paying attention to every individual line. They will make sure that you get it.
Honestly, if you watch it that way, you might just love it.
Yeah.
Because it's made for being watched that way.
This is the death of the art form.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt and Ben. I was going to talk about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms briefly, the new HBO Game of Thrones show, but I believe you have not watched the episode yet, so maybe we'll save that for a future date.
Yeah, I will. I do want to watch it. I have had a lot of watching on the calendar recently, but
understood.
We'll get there.
No big deal. I was talking to one of my old friends who was a guest on this podcast years and years ago, a man named James Gentry. I reached out to him today because I was curious if he had seen it. He has not watched it yet either, but he, unlike you, named his child after a character on Game of Thrones because A Song of Ice and Fire is like his favorite book series ever. He loves it to death. He loves it so much. And I was like, you haven't watched the show yet? He's like, no, I just haven't gotten around to it. I was like, James, your daughter's name is Lyanna. you can't do that. So I think the funny part is, if you know James Gentry, our listeners might not, but his reaction to that was, you're right. And he's watching it tonight.
I mean, it's been a long time, I can imagine a guy would just forget.
Yeah. Yeah. Not him.
Yeah. That's funny.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week. If you have anything you would like to say about either Train Dreams or The Rip, or if you want to let us know who you would choose in the Ben and Matt Sophie's Choice. I think the sad part of as framing that as a Sophie's Choice is I just think very few people are going to pick Ben, and that makes me feel bad for him a little bit.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel bad for even offering that up as an option.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. It would be interesting if anybody disagrees. I'd like to see your case, because I think a case could be made. I just am not going to be the one to make that case. Like, I think Ben has some great performances.
I think the only person that could go for Ben is someone that's still really pissed about Matt Damon doing The Great Wall.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Matt has had some shitty performances, right?
Yeah.
And so they both had some bad roles. I think they're suited for different things. I don't think Ben would have been good in The Martian. I think that's a Matt Damon role. And I actually don't think that Matt Damon would have been good in Gone Girl.
No.
They're just suited for different things, and that's great. We should live in a world that has Bens and Matts. And
can I maybe say something about The Rip and something negative about Matt Damon in The Rip?
Yeah.
I don't think he's cast well in that movie that his company made, because I don't think you look at Matt Damon and say, I bet this guy's really a bad guy.
Yeah.
I think you look at Matt Damon and say, that's Matt Damon. He's probably the good guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is something that, by the way, the movie Interstellar used to its advantage, because it was so surprising.
Yes.
That he's not the good guy in that movie. Spoilers, I guess, for Interstellar. You don't care. Everyone that's listening to this has seen Interstellar.
Yes, they have.
But I think, I guess also The Departed, right? So I guess he does play, but that's like, I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, The Departed is a really, what's the word? Like one of his best roles, right? But
yeah,
and it's because he's playing against type. Well, The Talented Mr. Ripley is another example that goes really well with The Departed, where you're seeing the squirrely backstabbing side of a guy who comes off as really charming.
Well, yeah, but it's like the Talented Mr. Ripley works because nobody looks at Matt Damon and says, "Oh, that guy's lying and fucking me over." Actually,
yes, exactly.
Whereas I feel like The Rip. It's so funny comparing The Rip and Talented Mr. Ripley. But it feels like the point of The Rip is we are to look at these guys and be like, oh, I don't know if I trust, especially the Matt Damon character.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't know if I trust him. He seems a little squirrely. And that's just not Matt Damon to me.
So this is more subtle, but I feel like the movie telegraphs too hard that you're supposed to be skeptical of him. If it had been a little more light in its touch, then I might have been more skeptical of him. Like, there's all these shots where he like walks into the frame and he's like out of focus, and then he steps into focus, and you're like, oh, we're supposed to worry about Matt Damon. It's like, no, just let me organically consider the possibility that maybe he's setting all this up.
The one good shot in this entire movie was when Steven Yeun is walking towards the house that's flickering the Morse code that says pigs, which, by the way, that is such a contrived script thing.
Yeah.
Of like,
stupid.
Oh, it looks like Morse code. Oh, do you know Morse code? Yeah, of course. It says pigs. Oh no, they know we're here. Like, come on, guys. But anyway, like that's like Steven Yeun is walking towards it and he thinks Matt Damon is like walking pace with him, and then realizes that Matt Damon is just behind him, and he moves out of the way, and Damon's stand there, and that's when he goes, "Are you a rat?" That is correctly intimidating and was a good composed shot. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and he's got his hand on his gun. Yeah, there's a lot of there's some fun stuff in this movie, right? Yeah, not 100% terrible.
I was trying to end the podcast though, Matt. So if we could just get back to doing it.
Let's do that. Yeah.
So yeah, let us know if you have any opinions on The Rip or on Train Dreams or on Netflix's continued takeover of the entire world. You can reach out to us via email at doofmedia@gmail.com, over on Twitter @doofmedia, on Reddit, reddit.com/r/doofmedia, Instagram @doofmedia, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and if you're not already subscribed to the Doofcast, we encourage you to do so and ensure you never miss an episode. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, and pretty much anywhere a podcast can be found.
And hey, Matt and I would appreciate it if you head on over to our Patreon account as well, patreon.com/doofmedia. You can pledge and support us at any of the available dollar levels there, but Patreon also has a free subscriber thing going on right now, and we're asking everyone that listens to the show to make sure you're subscribed to us on Patreon, even if it's just at that free tier. There will be stuff for you there. That's how we're going to get in contact with you about different shows. I'm probably going to write a post here outlining all the nominees for Best Picture so everyone knows the movies we're going to be covering, stuff like that. So head on over to there, patreon.com/doofmedia, subscribe, even if you can't afford to subscribe for any of the monetary levels. We would appreciate it if you did that.
Yeah, also please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Each review helps us get more exposure and introduces new people to the content that we make here.
All right, folks, next week on the show, Oscar movie number 5. We're going to be talking about Begonia.
My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say. My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say.